On the night of January 3, 2020, a convoy of vehicles quietly exited Baghdad International Airport. There were no sirens, no dramatic movements, and no public warning. Inside one of those vehicles was Major General Qasem Soleimani, the most powerful military commander Iran had produced in decades. Within minutes, that convoy would be reduced to burning wreckage. This was not an accident. It was a calculated, deliberate, and highly planned assassination carried out by the United States. And it would change the rules of modern intelligence warfare forever. Before we break down how this operation unfolded, where it was decided, and who exactly played a role, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Because what you are about to hear is not a rumor, not speculation, but a clear breakdown of one of the most significant targeted killings of the 21st century. To understand how this strike happened, we first need to understand who Qasem Soleimani really was. Soleimani was not just an Iranian general. He was the commander of the Quds force, a special unit within Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. This force was responsible for Iran's external military operations, intelligence coordination, proxy warfare, and influence campaigns across the Middle East, from Iraq to Syria, from Lebanon to Yemen. Soleimani was the central figure connecting Iran's regional strategy. For years, Western intelligence agencies tracked his movements, mapped his networks, and analyzed his decisions. He operated openly, traveled frequently, and believed his status protected him. That belief would eventually become his greatest vulnerability. Soleimani had survived multiple wars, covert battles, and assassination attempts. But by late 2019, the strategic environment had shifted. The United States viewed Soleimani as directly responsible for attacks on American personnel and allied forces in the region. Intelligence assessments linked him to militia operations in Iraq, arms transfers, and planning future actions. Tensions between Washington and Tehran were already high. Embassy attacks, rocket strikes, and proxy clashes had created a volatile situation. The decision-makers in Washington began asking a critical question: should Soleimani be removed? The answer did not come overnight. Targeted killings at this level are not tactical decisions, they are strategic ones. The approval process involved multiple layers of intelligence review, military planning, and political authorization. According to official U.S. statements, the order came from the highest level of government. The operation was authorized by the President of the United States, with execution responsibility handed to the U.S. military. Now, here is where clarity matters. The strike was carried out by the United States. The platform was American. The missiles were American. The operators were American. The intelligence support, however, came from multiple streams. The CIA played a key role in intelligence collection and analysis. Their job was not to fire the missile, but to confirm patterns, verify movements, and reduce uncertainty. Signals intelligence monitored communications. Travel patterns were analyzed. Human intelligence sources provided contextual confirmation. Soleimani's movements between Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq were not secret, but timing was everything. Intelligence agencies were waiting for the moment when identification would be absolute and collateral risk minimized. There has been widespread speculation about Israel's role, particularly Mossad. Here is what can be stated clearly without exaggeration. Israel has extensive intelligence capabilities in the region and maintains close intelligence-sharing relationships with the United States. However, there is no public evidence that Mossad executed, planned, or directly controlled the strike. Any Israeli role, if present, would have been limited to regional intelligence awareness or background assessments, not operational command. The operation moved forward when Soleimani boarded a commercial flight from Damascus to Baghdad. This was a critical detail. He was not using a military aircraft. He did not attempt to conceal his arrival. This decision signaled confidence, possibly overconfidence. U.S. intelligence tracked the flight from departure to landing. When Soleimani stepped off the plane, identity confirmation reached near certainty. Waiting outside the airport was Abu Mahdi al-Mohandes, a senior Iraqi militia leader allied with Iran. His presence further confirmed the intelligence picture. The convoy formation, vehicle types, and movement routes were all monitored in real time. Above them, unseen and unheard, an MQ-9 Reaper drone was already in position. The MQ-9 Reaper is not just a drone. It is a surveillance platform, a weapons system, and a real-time intelligence node. Operators located thousands of miles away had visual confirmation. Legal and operational authorization was confirmed one final time. This was the last checkpoint. Once crossed, there would be no reversal. At approximately 1 a.m. local time, the drone fired multiple Hellfire missiles at the convoy. The strike was precise. The vehicles were destroyed almost instantly. Qasem Soleimani and Abu Mahdi al-Mohandes were killed on the spot. There was no exchange of fire, no warning, no escape. Within minutes, global news networks began reporting an explosion near Baghdad airport. Within hours, the world knew what had happened. The United States confirmed responsibility. Iran confirmed the death. The Middle East entered a new phase of uncertainty. For Iran, the loss was massive. Soleimani was not easily replaceable. He was a strategist, a coordinator, and a symbol. His death disrupted command structures, forced rapid leadership changes, and exposed vulnerabilities Iran had long denied. For allied militias, morale and operational confidence were shaken. International reactions were divided. Some governments expressed concern about escalation. Others viewed the strike as a decisive move against a powerful figure. Markets reacted. Military forces across the region went on high alert. Airspaces closed. Embassies prepared evacuation plans. The immediate question was retaliation. Iran promised revenge. The world waited. Days later, Iran launched ballistic missiles at U.S. bases in Iraq. While no American personnel were killed, the message was clear. Iran would respond, but carefully, avoiding full-scale war. This first part of the story ends here, not because the consequences ended, but because the assassination itself was only the beginning. What followed would reshape intelligence operations, redefine red lines, and prove that even the most protected figures are not untouchable. Stay with us because in Part 2, we will break down the long-term impact the intelligence failures exposed who truly benefited, who suffered losses beyond Iran, and whether this operation was a strategic success or a dangerous precedent that changed covert warfare forever. After the strike that killed Qasem Soleimani, the world did not move forward. It froze. For several hours, no one knew how far this would go. Intelligence agencies across the globe shifted into crisis mode. Military commands reviewed escalation scenarios. Diplomats prepared for the possibility of open war. This was no longer just a targeted killing. It was a test of restraint. Inside Iran, the response was immediate and emotional. The government announced 3 days of national mourning. State media portrayed Soleimani as a national hero and framed the assassination as an act of war. Millions attended funeral processions across multiple cities. For the Iranian leadership, this was not just a military loss. It was a symbolic wound. But symbolism does not guide states in moments like these. Strategy does. Behind closed doors, Iran's leadership faced a difficult reality. A direct attack on the United States could trigger a war Iran was not prepared to fight. Doing nothing would signal weakness. The response had to be visible, controlled, and calculated. Iran chose missiles. On January 8, 2020, Iran launched ballistic missiles at 2 bases in Iraq, housing U.S. and coalition forces. The strikes were openly acknowledged by Tehran before impact. This was deliberate. The missiles were accurate enough to hit infrastructure, but time to avoid mass casualties. Iran wanted to respond without forcing escalation. From a military perspective, the damage was limited. No American soldiers were killed in the initial reports, though later assessments confirmed traumatic brain injuries among personnel. Strategically, Iran delivered a message without crossing the point of no return. The United States did not respond militarily. Instead, Washington imposed additional sanctions and increased its military presence in the region. Both sides stepped back from the edge. The immediate crisis passed, but the long-term consequences remained. Inside Iran, Soleimani's absence was quickly felt. He had been a central coordinator between political leadership, military commanders, and proxy groups. Replacing him required more than appointing a successor. It required rebuilding trust, authority, and operational coherence. His successor, Esmail Ghani, inherited the title but not the same influence. Militia groups aligned with Iran continued operating, but coordination became more fragmented. Decision-making slowed. Communication chains were adjusted. From an intelligence perspective, this created new vulnerabilities. Transitions are when systems are weakest. For the United States, the operation delivered a clear tactical success. A high-value target was eliminated without American casualties. Intelligence, surveillance, and strike capabilities worked exactly as designed. The message was unmistakable. Senior figures are not immune. But tactical success does not guarantee strategic victory. The strike also intensified anti-American sentiment in parts of the region. Iraq's parliament voted on measures to reduce foreign troop presence. U.S. bases became more frequent targets of rocket attacks by proxy groups. Security costs increased. Now comes the question many intelligence professionals ask quietly. Was it worth it? From one perspective, removing Soleimani disrupted Iran's regional operations and forced Tehran into a defensive posture. From another, it hardened positions, reduced diplomatic space, and normalized the assassination of senior officials as a tool of statecraft. For Israel, the outcome was mixed. Soleimani's death removed a key architect of regional pressure against Israeli interests. At the same time, it increased unpredictability. Iran adapted. Proxy strategies evolved. Threats did not disappear. They changed shape. Globally, the assassination set a precedent. It demonstrated that technological superiority, real-time intelligence, and political will can converge to eliminate almost any target. It also showed that traditional concepts of deterrence are shifting. Power is no longer displayed only through armies and borders, but through precision and information dominance. Intelligence agencies worldwide studied this operation closely, not to copy it, but to learn from it. How confirmation was achieved, how timing was chosen, how legal frameworks were applied, and how escalation was managed afterward. The real damage from the operation cannot be measured only in casualties or infrastructure. It lies in trust erosion, escalation thresholds, and the quiet acceptance that such actions are now part of modern conflict. Qasem Soleimani's death did not end Iran's regional influence. It did not stop proxy warfare. It did not bring peace. What it did was expose a truth that intelligence professionals already understood. The battlefield has changed. In this new era, power is not about size. It is about visibility. Whoever sees first, decides first. And whoever decides first controls the outcome. The road outside Baghdad International Airport is quiet now. The wreckage has long been cleared. But the consequences of what happened there are still unfolding, shaping decisions in war rooms, intelligence briefings, and diplomatic channels across the world. This was not just the end of one man. It was a signal. And signals, once sent, cannot be taken back. If you found this breakdown informative, make sure to like this video so it reaches more people who want facts instead of noise. Subscribe to the channel for more clear, unbiased intelligence stories and modern documentary breakdowns. Share this video with someone who wants to understand how power really operates behind the scenes. And let us know in the comments what topic you want us to explain next, because the real stories are always hidden in the shadows. Disclaimer: end of video. This documentary is presented strictly for informational and educational purposes. All events discussed are based on publicly available reports, historical records, and open-source intelligence analysis. The information shared here is not intended to promote, justify, or oppose any political ideology, government, military action, or organization. This content does not glorify violence and does not encourage hostility. The goal of this video is to explain complex global events in a clear and factual manner, helping viewers understand how modern intelligence operations and geopolitical decisions shape the world we live in today.